Spokane's a lovely town. Great people, great scenery. Oh, but yeah, there's murder. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about Cupboards All Bare and Crazy Maids in a Row, which are books 2 and 3 in the Spokane Clocktower Mysteries by Patricia Meredith. And I figured I read these back to back, so I would do a kind of review of both, talking about both. I did previously do one for the first book, Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Taker, and I'm not really a mystery reader, and I don't read a lot of like historical fiction in this kind of setting either, but I've really enjoyed everything that I've read from Patricia Meredith so far, and I had been meaning to get back to the Spokane Clocktower Mysteries, and so I was glad that I finally did. Now, so these are following the same set of characters, and the basis here is it kind of like time is going around the Spokane Clocktower, which is a very real thing, and many of the people, places, things that are in here are real historical figures, which I think adds a lot to it, and so we have, in the first book, a murder that takes place, and then our characters, including the detective and Officer Carew, are working on it, as well as a host of other characters as well. And we get a really wide variety of characters, and that's what I talked about liking in the first one, but also inventive with the way that it's done. Now, like I said, I'm not a huge mystery reader, and so I haven't read a ton, but I do feel like it's interesting for books that are set at a time like this, where this is, before a lot of technology, and so you have limited ways that things can be solved, so you gotta, finding clues, getting confessions, that kind of thing, and so sometimes I feel like that it's difficult to kind of find the line of how that's going to work. And I think Patricia Meredith does a really great job with these ones. I will say, Cupboards All Bare, which was book 2, I enjoyed a bit less than the first one. I feel like it was a little bit more predictable, and just the kind of the focus of it, I guess, or the style of what it was going. It was more like involving potential anarchist plots because the president was coming to visit, which once again, a real thing that was happening as well, and then kind of it involved disguises and that sort of thing, which I know is like a hallmark of old school detective fiction, and with it, but I enjoyed that one just a little bit less. But then Crazy Maids in a Row came back, and that is centering around a insane asylum, basically. And if you've heard anything about the way those places used to run back in the day, which there's a lot talking about it from a real article that was published by somebody who kind of like went undercover in one too, so you get glimpses of that, and that's the setting and the way the mystery was done. I really enjoyed it, so that one jumped right back up, and I think now is my favorite of the 3 that I've read so far with them. There are definitely some things in here too that you will find as a hallmark I've noticed with Patricia Meredith, and the one is references to other literature. She likes to include a lot of references to especially other mysteries, whether that's you get mentions of everything from plenty of Sherlock Holmes, but also the Leavenworth case by Anna Catherine Green, and some mentions of Poe and others in there as well. So you get a lot of mentions of the literature, and I feel like that was another thing in book 2. I felt like we had spent a little too much time with that, but it's been really, really balanced in the other 2, in books 1 and 3. So it's not a huge issue or anything. But the other one is food. Food is a huge focus in almost everything that I've read from Patricia Meredith, and it's really interesting the way that it's done. It's used not only as like a lot of the food sounds fantastic, and I definitely want to eat them, especially Mrs. Curry's lemon muffins, because yes. But there's a lot of description of food. There's a lot of talking about food, finding a cook, talking about different way things that are cooked. And it's also, I don't know, something about the idea that as the police officers are going around to investigate, and if they're offered like lunch or tea, they're like, oh, don't mind if I do. And they're a little annoyed if they don't get offered lunch or tea or some sort of dessert or everything. So just like that, it gives these kind of an almost cozy feel. Even though it's still, they're murder mysteries. And it's something that I've enjoyed with these books. It's kind of that halfway. It's like interesting characters, which the characters are really what pulled me into the first one as well, and continuing to see them develop, and I think in reasonable ways. With it, you had, at the end of the first book, I wasn't sure if everybody was going to be returning, if we we're going to see the same characters, and we really have seeing all of the same characters with different things going on in different ways, character relationships evolving, and just seeing our characters that we've known, getting to know them more and having fun. I still have Archie, who's ridiculous. He's the one who's working on the Clocktower and working on becoming an inventor with Mr. Matsumoto, who is a very interesting character, but Archie's just kind of the silly, always gets his words and phrases wrong kind of thing, and a character that I enjoy. But you have some new tensions that happen as a result of the first book. And so we have some tensions between characters, and we also have the threat of cutbacks to the police station as well, which once again, real thing. And that's kind of leads into the next thing that I want to talk about, though, which is the historical fiction part of these historical mysteries. Because as I've read through, and at the end of the first one, I was surprised by how much of the details she included were real things, real places, real people. Patricia Meredith, you could tell, really, really cares about her history and using it and being as accurate as possible. And I love, absolutely love at the end, she will go over and talk about these people are real, these are real places, that you can see this today if you were to visit Spokane, things like that. She's got more information on her website as well, but just the attention to detail there. And there's been several times, is the funny thing, where I'm reading through and something happens, or there's a person or a place or the way something happens, and I'm just like, it doesn't seem very realistic. And then that's the thing that she didn't make up, that's completely real. So the only things that I've had me questioning, and she makes a comment too at the end of the third one that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, the old saying. And it's like, I mean, yeah, because some of the things that happen are just kind of wild, but are actual real things that are based in fact, or real people, real things that happen. And so that's been something I think is really cool. So as somebody who doesn't read a lot of historical fiction, but I do like history, and so I have kind of an interest there. And mysteries are definitely not something else that I've done. I've just found myself really enjoying these books. They're really well written. They have fantastic characters. They have that kind of cozy feel as well as we're kind of traveling through. And I just found myself really enjoying this. I'd meant to get back to this for quite a while, and I popped the second one on, and even though, like I said, book 2 is my least favorite so far, it was still really solid for me, and I enjoyed it. But even then, I'm like, I really want to listen to the next one. So I did, and then book 3 is my new favorite as well. So they're just really fun. Something I recommend if even if it's not your normal thing, give it a shot, because I kind of tried this without any expectations, because it's very different from the kind of things that I've read, and I've really enjoyed it. And it's nice sometimes to just do something different, break up the same thing. I'm always reading, of course, a lot of fantasy, and that's always going to be primarily what I read, but popping in, the occasional sci-fi or the different type of fantasy novel is all well and good, but kind of doing something like this where it's just totally different, it's just really enjoyable. So I've had a really great time with these. I can't wait to continue this series. And I've just, Patricia Meredith is a great writer who's got a lot of great stuff as well, so I'll definitely keep reading whatever she puts out also. Those are really my thoughts, though, on books 2 and 3 of the Spokane Clocktower Mysteries, Covers All Bared, and Crazy Maids in a Row. Let me know if you've read these, or kind of what your thoughts are on this type of genre, or anything really that you have in response to any of the things that I said in this video. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description, as always, for the Wizard of the Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether these books, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you. And, of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.